everybody, my name is Dalton Hopkins, and today I'm going to be continuing the lore explained of Bendy and the Ink Machine Dash Dark Revival. Last time we finished talking about the entire lore of Bendy and the Ink Machine, and now we are continuing with the sequel, Bendy and the Dark Revival. And if we still have enough time, I may put in a few theories for the upcoming new sequel, Bendy the Cage. But anyways, let's get right into the video. Starting up, we play as a character named Audrey, who gets up after animating a few bendy animations and goes to get a cup of coffee. She heads over to an elevator where she then meets Wilson, the main villain of the sequel. We then go down an elevator with him, and then we discover the old ink machine that we originally saw in the original game. We then have to find all the items that we had to get in the original game of course to turn it on. So that's exactly what we do. We turn on the ink machine, and Wilson turns on the ink machine, and then Wilson then drowns us and him into the ink, which causes Audrey to wake up in the inky world. We do a bit of exploring, and then we find the dead lost one with a pipe stabbed into him. We then rip it out and use it as our main weapon for the entire game. We fight a few lost ones, enter a brand new room, until we encounter Baby Bendy, or Cartoon Bendy, as I like to call him. Cartoon Bendy looks at us, and Audrey tries to hold his hand, but she accidentally shocks him, which causes him to run away, which coincidentally we encounter the brand new ink demon that you just saw on screen. This brand new ink demon is actually Cartoon Bendy, and it also explains why we see the ink demon right after Cartoon Bendy runs away. We then have to pull a lever which then the ink demon Bendy tries to attack us. We make it through the door just in time, and then we see this next level part where it basically is a thing that tries to get us used to what the ink demon does. Because instead of free roaming like it did in the original chapters, it now teleports, and whenever the screen turns white and black, we have to hide in one of the things that you just saw, just see Audrey hiding. And this whole level is really just teaching you how the ink demon works. So we have to collect a few paintings to hand to this lost one that we then have to kill, which is a shame since he's technically the jerk, because he almost got us killed by the ink demon. Because as you see right now, everything turns black and white, and then we have to hide in order for the ink demon to leave us alone. And in order to know the ink demon's gone, the black and white filter thing will go away. Then we make some more progress, which we then encounter the fourth lost one, the fourth member of the Lost Ones. And then, well, not Lost Ones, the Butcher Gang. If you don't know, the Butcher Gang consists of 3 members: a spider-like one, a one that has a mouth on its head, and the leader that has a plunger for a leg and a wrench for a weapon. Now we also have a 4th member with sharp claws and looks like it's wearing a mask, with 2 creepy eyeballs that stare into your soul. The 4th Butcher Gang member will pop up a lot during this chapter, just to give you a good spook. That's mainly its purpose, is just to scare you. And trust me, it is real good at doing that. After a bit, we encounter this place that we have to find a way over there. We pull down a pipe, which after walking across through, we then encounter our brand new friend, who is, I currently can't remember, since last time I played this game was probably about a year ago. But as you can see, the giant pipe falls down, meaning we can no longer go back the way we came. So then we have to go the way that Lost One went. And it turns out he's actually friendly and is here to help us. So after running around a little bit and trying to find him, we end up doing so after, running around the place a bunch. We find him back here and we see him stuck in a puddle of ink in this giant well-looking spot. And then we currently find out his name is Potter, and he sits there stuck. Audrey, using her new ability, which is to melt things, melts the ink puddle that got him stuck, which causes him to fall through the well, which, after we jump down there with him, he hands us our new ability, which is kind of like the Cuphead Smoke Dash. Yes, I know about that. I know about it because I've seen someone use it in one of their playthroughs, but that's not important. It allows us to be able to jump across places like giant holes, in order to, like the giant pits of darkness, in order to survive, the amount of weird stuff. As you can see right there, there's one of those giant pits. You have to use this dash in order to make it across and survive. And this is something that we don't use often, but it's still pretty useful to have. Then most of the game contains us running around, doing a few puzzles, meeting a lost one that has a weird obsession with playing hide and seek. Then we end up meeting Wilson in a train, who shows us that the ink here is alive. And then, if we back up a little bit, as you can see, the place we are currently at is actually a place where we first meet Joey Drew. However, this is not real Joey Drew, it is just a memory of Joey Drew talking to us. But for some reason can still feel pain, because we know he can at the end of the game. But anyway, still, we then meet Wilson, and then he just describes how the ink is alive and all the other crap. Then we head to his laboratory, which we then meet him in the basement. He tries to turn us into another one of the ink monsters, like we aren't already. And then we throw him into the giant weird grinding spot. I actually forgot something to cover. This is later me editing this. It is that I forgot to include that we have a fight. See, we have to fight Allison right before we meet Wilson in the train. And that's all I had to tell you all. Now I'll let you all continue with the video I just got done recording. We then wander around a bit, and then we find the place where the ink machine has been hiding all of this time. After the ink demon gives us a big old speech, we then have to pull a lever. And then after that, we get to see Wilson jump out of the puddle of ink and show to us that he's still alive. He's just stuck in the chest part of the new monster, which is a giant crab human looking thing that you see on screen. And we can see he has color in him because Wilson has been planning to add this world some color, and color defeats the ink demon, which is why in Wilson's laboratory you see it almost everywhere 24/7. Anyways, we then have a epic boss scene against this giant crab monster that I will call Wilson, since Wilson is technically the one that's in control, because we see him at the chest part. Or at least we think he's controlling him. Because at the end of the boss fight, we melt Wilson's head out of the chest, and it turns out he was never in control and was just sitting there dead. We then have the crab thing rip off our legs and tries to kill us, which, as you can see on screen, is what we do. We destroy Wilson, and it turns out Wilson was never in control. We get our legs ripped off, and before we die, the ink demon appears out of nowhere and saves us by killing this giant crab beast that we thought was Wilson. As you can see, we get to see their giant fight between the two. And as we can tell, the ink demon's much more powerful than he was before. He then drags the monster into the ink. Then we black out, and then when we wake up, we see the ink demon walking towards us. He says, "It's time, Audrey," and then hands us his hand. And after calling us a monster, him a monster, and saying this place was basically never supposed to exist, and going through a whole emo session, he then hands us his hand and asks, and then we have to grab it, which then he eats us, and then when we open our eyes, it's revealed to us we turned into Beast Bendy that we saw at the end of the game in Chapter 5 of the original game. We then kill Joey Drew, takes the end, we barge through a couple of doors. Henry, who's in this game, lets us continue through by opening a door that we could not break through. We see Allison, Pendle, and Tom destroying all the lost ones. We then get to see Sammy worshipping Beast Bendy, but then gets shot in the face by Allison. Then hilariously falls off of the thing that he was standing on and falls to the floor. And then we play the end, and then, well, I'll show you. We get back to the place we started at, and then we discover we are made of ink. We read the Illusion of Living book, and then when we turn, we see that we brought Cartoon Bendy into the real world with us. Unfortunately, I've ran out of time, meaning I cannot discuss the Bendy in the Cage theory. I will try my best to fit it in, but I don't think we will have enough time. But that is currently all. Next Bendy theory I will post is most likely a theory about Bendy the Cage, and talking about the lore of Bendy the Cage. But for now, I'm going to try to discuss the theory. My theory is that we are actually taking place in a prequel. Not fully prequel, we are actually playing as Henry, as we know, and that we are actually in the part where Audrey and the Ink Demon Bendy have fused together. And that is currently all I can discuss, since if I continue talking, then, well, we're going to run out of time. So I will save this theory and put it into Bendy the Cage theory. I hope you all enjoyed today's video. Dalton Hopkins, bye-bye.